Hello, I'm George with NS345. Welcome back to my Pro Tools mixing video series. This is video number 2. During my first video, I spoke about how to create a new session, how to import the audio by dragging the audio into the session, making sure you have the right sample rate and the right bit depth, making sure your tracks match the sample rate and the bit depth. I talked about how to arrange the tracks by using this side window here. And at some point I need to remember what that window's called, but that's okay. And one of the important elements of this video series is gain staging. I set the input level of my tracks to minus 18 dBFS by using the clip line function in Pro Tools 12. I believe clip line is, or clip edit is available as of Pro Tools 9 or Pro Tools 10, I believe. I'm not sure, but you can check. It's the clip gain function where you drag this little fader here and it actually brings down the input level, the pre-fader level, or your signal. Okay, one of the beautiful things about setting your levels around minus 18 dBFS, they don't have to be perfect, is that a lot of plugins are calibrated to the 0 VU mark, which 18 dBFS is equal to 0 VU. In the US, I believe it's 20 dBFS, but all over the world it's 18 dBFS. Most analog hardware is calibrated to 0 VU. A lot of the converters out there nowadays are calibrated to 0 VU. So your input level and your output levels are the same or can be balanced with each other. And I don't want to get off topic because I feel like getting off topic and talking about how that works. But just for my tutorial series, I just want to make sure that when I start setting up my session, one of the first things that I do, one of the most important things that helps me get back some of the headroom or to create headroom is gain staging. And I went through each track and you saw that on video number 1. I also cleaned up the session using strip silence. That was very easy. I created groups and color them. And I created submixes or buses for the groups. And then I created stems. I sent the audio from the buses to the stems. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth as I get going. Hopefully this video will be a lot shorter than the first one. And I'm going to keep the topics to a single video. I felt that on the first video I needed to include all those things so that you can see how to do all that. And I'll try and put the time of each chapter. I'm not really good with ScreenFlow, which is what I'm using yet. So I'm sure I'll get better as I make more videos. But today's video is going to consist of how to set your static mix. What is the static mix? It's a good question. Basically, all it is a mix, your initial mix, where you go and balance the volumes, the levels, to make sure that the different tracks are coherent with each other, meaning the bass, guitar, and the kick drum sound good together and sound good together with the vocal. The same with guitars and the drums. And why is this important? For me, this is important because the better I can get my static mix at the beginning of the mixing process, the easier it's going to be for me to mix. The easier it's going to be for me to make small adjustments and bring in plugins, and stuff is already going to sound good. So I don't have to do a lot. I've seen people who actually mix as they go. They'll start with the faders at 0 and or here at the unity point, and they'll just start. They even use the faders inside of their plugins or the output faders, which it's okay, it works for them, but for me this is going to work a little bit better, and hopefully you can learn something from it, and I would really love to hear your comments about it. And I'm not afraid if I'm teaching you something wrong, or if I need to improve on something, let me know. I'm not too proud to admit it, because we're all learning still today. Okay? One thing that I did was I cleaned up the drums right before I started the video. Basically, all I did is I went through each transient of the toms, and I just tapped to it by using the tap to transient. So if I'm here, I tap to it, I broke it, then I use my smart tool to create a quick fade. I don't feel I need to create a video about that right now, but I can definitely answer any questions about that. So it's not that many tom hits, as you can see. So that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna start setting my static mix, and you could do it here on the faders. You could do it here. If you notice, my tracks are highlighted. They have like a blue square around it, and that's because I'm using V-Control, which is the iPad app that controls, I don't think you could see it because of the light, controls Pro Tools, but just look into that V-Control. Maybe next time I'll have to plug in a USB cable and show you how I do that. And I'm also using the PreSonus fader port. That's the green tracks there. So I have 8 tracks on my V-Control on my iPad, and I have the other 8 tracks on my PreSonus. So I can bank those, and as I click on them, use my faders of the V-Control or the PreSonus. But whatever works for you, I can do it with my mouse as well. And I'm saving up to actually get the Yukon mix controllers, or the S6. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm just gonna play it real quick for you. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on this VU meter. Basically, I want to get my mix. Once I'm done with my mix, I want it to average around the 0 VU mark, which is equal to minus 18 dBFS. So you'll see it there. Right now it's above that. So let me get that down. Okay, so the first thing to remember is when I initially brought my tracks in, by default, Pro Tools brought set the pre-fader metering in place. That means that you're actually seeing the signal as it actually was recorded. The faders aren't affecting the signal. The only thing they're affecting is the volume. So let me show you this real quick. Just set this one, the all. Watch this. Because it's in pre-fader, you can still see the signal of the tracks. This is good. And actually it's good just to kind of visualize what's actually playing and what's not. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab my groups, and I'm just going to drag those down. Just going to select all of them. You could do that, or you can use see how I set it to B, and if I hit B right now, see it says no group here. Hit B again, the bass is engaged. So I'm just going to bring all my groups down. My acoustic guitars, electric guitars, vocals, lead vocal. Now I'm not going to touch the buses or the stems. So let me see what I can do with this.
If he ain't around to sing his song, then who's gonna rock this town
And actually I'm bringing that back to 0. That's okay.
No, he didn't waste his life on nothing.
I'm gonna disengage my BGV group by hitting the key V. That way I can balance the background vocals. Everything's still in mono. I often do it in stereo or mono, whatever you prefer. A lot of people say, even Graham at the Recording Revolution, he says he likes to get his static mix in mono. But whatever works for you.
Who are we to say he's wrong? If he ain't around to sing his song, then who's gonna rock this town tonight? No, he didn't waste his life on nothing. Playing his guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. Who are we to say he's wrong? If he ain't around to sing his song, then who's gonna rock this town tonight? No, he didn't waste his life on nothing, playing his guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed the guitar. So he just stayed. No, he didn't waste his life on nothing, playing his guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. No, he didn't waste his life on nothing. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. He just stayed the guitar picking man. So 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 he just stayed the guitar picking man. He just stayed the guitar picking man. Well, the rumors they start on the count that he's so hard to find. Although I feel the loss, I still remember. Who are we to say he's wrong? If he ain't around to sing his song, then who's gonna rock this town tonight? No, he didn't waste his life on nothing, playing his guitar, doing the best he can.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I hear a little separation already. And if you notice, I'm looking down. I'm actually looking at my iPad V Control. I'm using those faders. While there's meters on it, I'm actually using my ears to listen. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm trying to stay focused on the balance of the vocals. Now I'm happy with that. Now I'll engage the vocal group again.
Who are we to say he's wrong?
Yep. So I think this is a good, okay, right now I'm in loop mode. If you can see, excuse me, my play button, it's got a little loop deal around it. If you right click, you can choose loop, or you can just click through it, holding down control, and just clicking, and it'll put it in loop mode. Okay, so now I'm gonna start looking at the guitars, acoustic guitars.
Who are we to say? Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed the guitar picking man. Sing his song. No, he didn't guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. He's wrong if he ain't around to sing his song. Then who's gonna rock this town tonight? No, he didn't waste his life on nothing.
It almost looks like the same take, but two different mics.
Playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed a guitar picking man.
Okay, so just because I have a left and right guitar, acoustic guitar, doesn't mean I gotta pan them wide left and right. I'm trying to find space in the mix for all the instruments. So I can hear that one of the mics, the acoustic right mic, sounds a little lower, has more low into it, while the left mic, acoustic guitar, it's a bit brighter. So I'll pan them to the same side and see what I get out of that. I still hear the acoustic guitar right mic a little too much.
Playing the guitar, doing the best he can.
Oftentimes you'll see me hitting Shift Command G, and all that does is disengages the groups. And what I do that just to have the ability to move one fader. There's other ways you can do it, like you can hold down Control while you move one of the faders that are grouped. I'm used to doing this. Shift Command G.
Playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed a guitar picking man. Well, they say he died almost once or twice these last years.
I think that's an okay balance for now.
Playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed a guitar picking man. Well, they say he died almost once or twice these last years. Well, the rumors they start on the count that he's so hard to find. Playing the guitar, playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign. Playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. So he just stayed a guitar picking man. Well, they say
So I'm looking for a part where the hi-hat's playing.
Story about a guitar picker. He's never been in love, he never had no broken heart. Story about a guitar picker. He's never been in love, he never had no broken.
So what I'm looking for here is just a balance between the overhead.
He's never been in love.
And if my fader has to go up that high just to get some level there, I'll go back over here maybe. I'm okay with that. I want to mix them as one channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them to a new track. I'm just going to call it overhead. Stereo input, auxiliary input, create. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide these two. I'm just going to click there, hold shift, right click, and say hide. Now this becomes my overhead. So this one's not part of the drum group now. So I'll go to drums, modify group. It's 8. Looking for track number 8. Add it. Now it's part of my group. It's okay there. I have a room track, so I don't want to use this. I'm actually going to cut out all of the low end stuff. So I can actually use an EQ here for my static mix, but I don't want to use anything until the end.
Story about a guitar picker. He's never been in love, he never had no broken heart. Oh, guitar picker. Story about a guitar picker. He's never been in love, he never had no broken heart. Story about a guitar picker.
I like using the room mic just because oftentimes it can create some sort of depth in your mix just because the mics are positioned far away. I'm having ground issues, and it's probably because I got a bunch of cables I got to clean up. The back of my desk, I've been doing some experimenting, so I'm going to try and clean it up. Guess I was saying very weak, but my faders were all down. Duh. Now you could hear it. It's not too bad. I mean, these drums were recorded okay.
Who are we?
I think it's a good mix.
Who are we to say it's wrong? If he ain't around to sing his song, then who's gonna rock this town tonight? No, he didn't waste his life for nothing. Playing the guitar, doing the best he can. Well, he tried to sign up, but he was too old to fight for his country. He just stayed the guitar picking man. They say he died almost once or twice last year. Well, the rumors they start on the count that he's so hard to find. Although I feel the loss, I still remember. Let me tell you a story about a guitar picker. He's never been in love, he never had no broken heart.
Just so that you get an idea, I'm listening at very low levels. I'm going to pull up a little SPL meter here on my iPhone.
Let me tell you a story about a guitar picker.
I'm listening at 70 dBs. Yeah, I don't need to listen at high volumes. I need to find out what's causing that ground, guys. Make sure it's not my playback engine that's causing that. Shouldn't be. Almost there. Am I taking too long for you? Probably. This is not about speed though. Just going to the guitars now. Guess what? I don't need this one. I had to make inactive. That was. Guess what? I'm not gonna use that one. Hide and make inactive. Sounds okay to me. I'm just gonna put it in post fader. So one thing right now is that my static mix, it's peaking right around, or sorry, it's averaging around minus 24 maybe. Let's see. No. Minus 20. That's at minus 21, so I'm at a healthy level just now. Really good level to start my mix. I have tons of headroom. Okay, another meter that I use once I start mixing is the Brainworks meter, which is one of my favorites. It tells you your dynamic range. And what's funny about this mix right now is the dynamic range is really low. Now the Brainworks, I think the DR meter gives you a higher dynamic range than this one. So as long as I'm not like under 6 dynamic range, I'm good. But ultimately it's how does it sound to your ears. But I'm basically looking here at my average, my RMS levels. See where it's peaking. I got all this headroom. Okay, I'm happy with that. You may not be happy with it, but I'm really happy with it. And I'm taking my time, and again, this video turned out to be 45 minutes. I'll try and trim some stuff, but really, I just want to show you how I do it. If you don't want to sit through this, that's fine. But listen, when I started learning about mixing, I wanted to see guys doing the entire process. And it was really difficult to find good videos where people took you from A through Z. Anytime people showed how to mix, they never showed you how to import audio, how to set your gain staging, how to do all that. So you had to jump from one video to the other. So, I mean, so far it's only been, I've worked on this song maybe less than 2 hours. A lot of it has been talking. I wouldn't be taking my time so much with mixing a song. I usually work a lot faster, but because I'm trying to show you how I do it, it's taking me a little longer. So let me just review briefly. I cleaned up the toms manually, and I balanced the tracks, adjusting the volumes. As of yet, I have no plugins. The only plugins I have are my metering plugins, which one is the Brainworks BX2 meter or BX meter, which shows you RMS levels. 21. Man, I got all this space here to bring my mix to a good level. And I'm also using my VUMT VU meter from Klangholm. English is my second language. Really, I always have this one as -18. So you can see I'm averaging around here, which is around, I don't know, -23, somewhere around there. And if you click here, it'll tell you. Your peaks and your average in VU, of course. Okay, see you in video number 3.